Welcome to the Bucket Plan on Demand, a podcast for financial advisors based on the best-selling book and process that simplifies financial planning. Hear from skilled industry professionals and special guests each episode that will help perfect your approach with clients and your results.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another coffee break with C2P. So glad to have you here with us. Today's topic, as you probably saw, is leveragingwealth.com, estate planning reimagined. Now, what you may not know is several months ago, we signed a corporate contract with wealth.com. It was something that Dave saw. They were at the Mastermind Collegium, and we just saw a huge value in the services that they could provide to advisors when it came to estate planning. But one of the most common questions we're getting right now is, how are advisors leveraging wealth.com? How are they using it in their business? Are they charging additional planning fees? Is this something they're offering as additional service? So with me today are our two guest baristas who are going to walk through exactly how they've been leveraging wealth.com with their clients, with their prospects, how they've incorporated it into their business, and hopefully we'll answer a lot of questions that everybody has. First, I'd like to introduce Sarah Soria, the CEO and co-founder of Encompass Financial Planning. Thank you so much for being with us here, Sarah.
Thank you,
and of course, Tony Engrassia, owner and lead advisor at Wealth Management Strategies. Tony, thanks so much for being here as well.
Thank you.
So we'll start off with some questions. Again, as everyone knows, this is open forum. So as you have questions, if maybe you've started using wealth.com or use other estate planning services and you want to know how they might compare, please feel free to chat your questions, raise your hand, or just unmute and say, hey, I have a question. Sarah, I'd like to kick it over to you first. How has wealth.com's approach to estate planning transformed the experience for your clients specifically? How have you been using it with your clients?
Thanks, Kalem. We adopted wealth.com pretty much as soon as we learned about it, which was from a webinar or maybe a coffee break when the company rolled it out. And the response has been even more positive than we had hoped. We figured that it would be a very positive response from our clients to be able to streamline the process and make it cheaper. And just about everybody that we ask that doesn't have an estate plan and we describe the process that we're offering in the office signs up to take advantage of it.
Same question to you, Tony. How have you incorporated into your business?
Yeah, so we just believe it really was going to enhance our clients' estate planning experiences just by us offering our clients that user-friendly digital platform that will simplify the entire process, because our process was sporadic. It wasn't complete. And this is just making our process more refined. It just allows our clients to create and update their estate plans online, so it's efficient. And just the visualization tools they have, this just to help the clients clearly understand their estate structures, which has been really helpful, helping them make their decisions.
To either of you, is there any specific features that you found? You both mentioned online, obviously that's one, but is there any specific features or things about wealth.com that you found especially helpful with clients? Is it just very easy to navigate? Is it user-friendly? Like, what are some of the features and benefits that you've seen with wealth.com?
I can start. I think that it's so attractive to clients because of how streamlined the process can be. And we've had personal experience with a number of attorneys, and it's always very thorough, and we've received great service, but it takes a really long time. It takes multiple meetings and signings. And we found with wealth.com, we are able to take that process for straightforward cases, and we can get the process done if clients are motivated really within one meeting, and they walk out of the office with a full package that's ready to be signed. We can't sign in the office yet, but that's something we're working towards so that it can be fully wrapped up in an hour to an hour and a half. And there's tremendous value in that to the client. And there's also tremendous value in the fact that they can get started with us and we can familiarize them with the program and show them what their next steps would be. They can finish it at home. We can print it for them and they can just swing by the office to pick it up to get it notarized.
Tony, what about you?
Yes, we found the platform is user-friendly. It guides the client through each step of the way, helping them understand everything clearly. What we did though is I had everybody on our team actually create their own wills, power of attorney, healthcare power of attorneys, and go through it themselves so they can experience what the clients will be going through, what questions would they come up with. And that was really helpful to go ahead and do that. Even if they had their wills and stuff, we still had to just do it as a guide.
Now, you mentioned obviously that there's the notarization on the back end, right? How are you guys handling that process? Are you having them do that with a separate notary? Are you having a notary come to your office? Is that still something you're working through? Like, how are you getting these documents ultimately, legally binding at the end?
I'll go ahead. We have a signing party. So we have notaries in our office. And what we'll do is we give a deadline, because we're finding a lot of people are still procrastinating. So that's a big issue. So we have a weekly follow-up to see, because people are going to procrastinate. You have some that are going to go in and do it. They're going to just get it done right away. And then we have a list that we'll go through. You sign into wealth.com, and the ones that it shows you each part of the way of where they are in the process. And we can see where they may be stuck. But what we do is we'll have them come in the office and have the two witnesses and then the notary, just to make it easier for them. If they have somewhere to do that and it's easy, then they certainly can do that as well.
I wanted to share also, because I do so many of my meetings virtual. There's a couple really easy to use online notary services now. Notarize is one of them. And literally at $25, and the client just gets it all notarized with witnesses right online. It makes it pretty seamless if you're even doing virtual meetings to get it all the way through the finish line with the client.
Sarah?
Yeah, I didn't realize that was possible. Thanks, Dave. That's
That's why we do these, right? So we learn new things.
Yeah. Wow. Because we have found that the signing is a little bit of a speed bump for people, because they both have to go and they have to be together, and that can be a little bit overwhelming. This week, we actually have started doing what Tony is doing, and we're having a mobile notary come to the office. We've floated the idea of having somebody in our office become a notary, just so that we can help people that aren't internally motivated to get this final step done. So having a notary come to the office is where we have found the most success, because when we tab it and try to give them instruction on how it's going, what the signing process is going to look like and how it's going to go, that's overwhelming for the clients. That was the first thing we did and found not great success. So now having the notary come to the office is working much better. But notarize.com, I think that just changed our process.
Kalem, I think bring up too, one thing that was almost why we didn't take on wealth.com is it's not something else we wanted to continue, take on something else, right? Is this going to take up a lot of our time? But what we found, and where we've been utilizing it the most, is what we're doing is we're offering it a free service to all our high net worth clients to their children. So they can have free wills, power of attorneys, healthcare power of attorneys. So this is something we offer to their children. We're able to create that relationship and get in the door on the back end on our higher net worth clients. So that was one reason why we really tapped into wealth.com.
So you're doing this, you're prioritizing, look at your client categorization and kind of starting with your higher categorization.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Lisa asked a question. It was going to be one of my follow-up questions to you, and that was, you addressed it, but how much time? I think some people are always concerned about this being, like you just said, like a distraction in their business, some additional thing that can distract from the core mission. Have you found that to be true, or are you finding that it's really not it's not taking as much time maybe as you might think?
Yeah. Well, we charge planning fees to our clients, and we go through the process, and we recommend that they have their wills, power of attorneys, healthcare power of attorneys, they have those in place. If they don't have an attorney, we used to recommend one to them, and now we're just also recommending the attorneys, or if they wanted to do it online themselves, they can utilize the wealth.com. And a lot of them are liking that idea that they can go in there. They have access. It's state specific. We like the compliance aspect of it, and it takes us from giving legal advice. So we've just added it to our process just to streamline it. So it's always been part of our process. It just was sporadic.
So back to having a notary in the office. I wanted to add just a little bit about the physical process to answer some questions in the chat. We're charging $500 for the service to start. We could easily charge $1,000, and hand over fist, people would do the process with us. But it really only takes an hour to 2 hours of our time, depending on whether or not the client already has an idea of all the people that they need to appoint and what they want to do with their assets. So when they ask us a question that is outside of our jurisdiction, there is so much information on wealth.com. So it's like TurboTax for an estate plan. So you go through and it says, do you want to appoint a trustee or co-trustees? And the client says, I don't know, what do I want to do? And you just look over on the right-hand side of the screen. I know how to advise them. I know the answer. But what we do is we say, it says right here that if you advise one, this is what happens. If you advise two, this is what happens. And so wealth.com, when you go through the training, they'll advise you as the advisor to just rely on the information that is on the program to answer all of their questions. So they've done a really tremendous job with empowering us to guide the client without blurring the line between financial advisor and estate planning attorney. So the answer to every question is online. Right now, we have a client that has intellectual property that he needs to account for inside of the trust. And that's outside of my expertise, and it's outside of the standard framework of wealth.com. So we scheduled an appointment with an attorney through wealth.com, 30 minutes, $250. And I'm confident that person will be able to answer all of our questions.
So it sounds like there's a couple things here, right? One is you guys still utilize local attorneys if someone wants somebody, because sometimes people want to do this face to face and in person, right? That's just going to be what they're going to want to do. So you have that as an option. You still have your COI network for that. You have wealth.com. And then if you can't solve it through wealth.com, it sounds like you can also just book attorney appointments through wealth.com where they can get their specific questions answered, especially probably in more complicated cases. I would imagine most of what you're seeing is your standard estate planning documents where it's fairly cut and dry, fairly formulaic. I was going to ask you, have you guys run across, and it sounds like, Sarah, you already did, people that have higher needs that maybe want a specialized trust or specialized estate plans, or maybe clients, I know Dave has many of them there, where their net worth is going to go into a level where maybe more complicated estate planning needs to be done. Are you finding you still start with wealth.com and then expand from there? Or what's been your experience there? You just shared yours, but Tony, have you had a similar experience?
Yeah, if they have more advanced planning cases, we'll utilize recommending the attorneys locally. If they have an estate tax situation, or we know if it's going to be a good fit for wealth.com, or if this is going to be a good fit for an advanced estate planning attorney. So we don't start we offer it, but again, if it's more advanced, we won't even offer to wealth.com. We'll just recommend the attorney.
And then are you charging a separate planning fee as well, or are you bundling this into your existing plan?
It's bundled into our existing fee structure. We charge $2,900 for our planning fee. It's just an added benefit. We have a list of things called our gold medal services, and that's just another thing that's listed on our gold medal services.
Yeah, I'm actually at Schwab Impact, and there's probably 300 booths here. By far, Wealth.com's booth is absolutely blown up. The demand that they've seen here is insane. But I want to share a couple things. Number one, even for the advanced cases, they have a resource now where you could invite the estate planning attorney into Wealth.com. The estate planning attorney can upload all of the more advanced documents, and then the family office suite in Wealth.com will create these great visualizations. So I've brought Ben Kelly on. He's our top estate planning attorney. The guy's a wizard, but I'm actually going to invite him into the portal for some of our biggest clients where he's done the legal work so that he can collaborate and be the attorney in there. But we use Wealth as the visualization so clients can actually understand their estate plan. That's one thing. The second thing, what we've done is we charge $9.95 to any Opal or Ruby clients, and it's been a great addition to our high income earners, but they don't have the assets yet. we're waiving it or doing it as a complimentary service for any diamond or higher clients. And what I've been finding is the few clients that we've taken through it, it's opening up incredible conversations for life insurance. And yes, it's typically the first meeting we found is an hour to take them through the software. And then what we typically find is there's a number of action items or to-dos that come out of that meeting. And then there's a second meeting to hopefully wrap everything up and finalize it. But those 2 hours are well worth it because you find out who the most important people are in their life, the beneficiaries, the successor trustees. You find out life insurance opportunities. You get referral opportunities in those meetings. And so I wouldn't look at it as an additional piece of work. It's a huge opportunity. And then one thing that we're going to start doing, we haven't started this yet, but we're going to offer it as a free service to any of our senior clients that if they have adult children that don't have all their legal documents in order, we're going to offer it as a free service for their adult children. And we all obviously know the reason why. Number one, it's a referral that hopefully we can introduce our firm to and the other services. But number two, when that senior client passes away, we're going to have a relationship with the adult kids so we don't lose the assets. And so those are just a couple additional ideas that I think are going to be game changers of how to use the software. And that's again why I think it's such a no-brainer to implement into your practice. Even if you have an amazing relationship with an estate planning attorney, to be able to use this as a really great visualization tool and a collaboration tool around all the documents, I think is going to be another great thing to consider.
Love it. Thinking of where you do this in this process, and Tony, you said you're going back to your existing clients. Where, if someone you're going to do this and offer this for a new client, where in the process would you be doing this service? And thinking through the bucket plan process of discovery, design, deliver, is this something you're doing in that dedicated phase? Is this seed you're planning along the process of here's something else we're going to do in addition to the family estate organizer? Where do you see this fitting into the process for you, or where are you using it in the bucket plan process?
Yeah, we always use it in the beginning, in our beginning process, because we feel that we could do all the planning in the world, but if they don't have their documents in place and set up, then no plan's any good. So we'll set it up right in the beginning. We'll have some personal recommendations that we usually recommend. And then what we'll do is we'll go into the estate documents, recommending that they either get them reviewed. If they haven't done already, then we'll just move it into the next phase. But right in the beginning, we're utilizing recommending it. Now, as far as to the children, that's after the planning's done, and that's going to be something that we're offering to the children, what David had mentioned. Just it's an opportunity to provide and build that relationships across generations.
Hey, Kalem, we're bringing it up in Fit Calls and in Discover, obviously, and talking about it when we talk about the 5 pillars of holistic wealth management. But for a new potential client, we are not engaging in this until after we've gone through step 3 and delivered their plan and they've committed to become a wealth management client. Because that's the key. This is an incredibly valuable resource for wealth management clients of ours. And I tell them kind of the opposite. I share the first thing we need to do is secure and coordinate your assets, your investments, your retirement income plan. And then we need to make sure the right documents are in order so that if God forbid something happens to you, we answer these 3 questions of legacy and estate planning. When you're gone, where does your stuff go? Who's in charge and what are the rules? So let's get through the bucket plan first. Let's get your retirement plan fully built, and then we'll tackle these other pillars like tax management, protection planning, and legacy planning. And I found that conversation flows quite well with the prospects that we're dealing with. Just for whatever it's worth, I've seen that language and kind of workflow work quite well. And then what we did is we went back to all of our existing clients and we had a review, me, Conrad, and David, and Brittany, on who we know is in good shape and has all their legal documents in order, who we know has outdated legal documents, and then who has no legal documents. And we're prioritizing who we're introducing this to, because we didn't want to just send a blast email out to everybody because we'd be inundated with work. So we're strategically prioritizing all of our existing clients.
Makes total sense. Sarah, similar process, something different you're doing?
Similar. So we use the connection questionnaire, and there's a question that asks, do you have your estate documents in order? So that's where we plant the seed that this is a service we offer to clients. But like Dave said, it's not something that we would do before we're done with the bucket plan process. And I wanted to go back to referrals and how that's helping our business. We were pretty overwhelmed by the response and the amount of people that just automatically said, my father needs help with this, my sister needs help with this. One in particular, we were meeting with new clients that are friends, and they made it very clear that their parents had an advisor they were happy with. And so we didn't really push the issue, but they live in town also. Their advisors in San Diego. And so we went through the bucket plan process and the estate planning process with them. And they said, you know what, our parents need to do this also. They're going to onboard with you as well. So it's become an incredible referral tool, because being able to offer everything, like we say, we are the 5 pillars of holistic wealth management, it just fits so well in with what we're doing. It's a no-brainer. People are finding the value in it.
Yeah, Sarah, you're right. It's just a great way to ensure that continuity and trust while offering that value to the families as a whole.
And Sam asked, what if second generation adult kids, or I guess anybody that you're being referred to, already has an advisor? Sounds like, Sarah, you can address that. You start to poke holes in, introduce the bucket plan, maybe introduce some other planning. It gives you an opportunity to get in front of them and ask why their advisor didn't handle this directly, right? Like, why wasn't this part of what your current advisor is doing?
Right.
I think the more opportunities you get for those conversations is always good. Doesn't mean they're always going to onboard as a client, obviously, but have you seen that is true, that where, hey, maybe I get to poke holes now at the other advisor they currently have?
Yes, absolutely. If you have an advisor and you don't have estate planning documents, why is that? That's the advisor's job. We view financial advisors as the general contractor, right? We need to make sure that all of the pieces are being taken care of, even if it's not done in our office. So you're exactly right.
It's a big thing to talk about. Do you have an advisor or do you have a financial planner? Make the distinction.
All right, we're coming up quickly on the bottom of the hour. Tony, Sarah, any other words of advice, tips, anything else that someone maybe is starting their wealth.com journey you would recommend, or just any other experiences you'd like to share?
Yeah, we just got such quick affirmation that it was the right choice. We assumed that it would be amazing and well received by our clients, and we're really overwhelmed about how quickly people signed on for the service and how easy it makes it to get people in our door. Because saying, come talk to us about financial advising, I have a guy and we've been together for a long time. It's just having this transactional offer makes it very easy for somebody to come into the office for the first time, whether it's a brand new prospect or a referral or the children of a client or the parent of a client. We're finding that it's getting people in the door faster than anything else that we've done.
Kalem, I just want to share one thing real quick, because I did all the due diligence on wealth, and I know there's other platforms out there that do something similar. They don't compare with wealth.com's technology. That's what gravitated me, and the quality of the documents in the process and the network of attorneys. I spent a long time doing due diligence on wealth and all of the other major vendors. And I can tell you, for example, last month, Wealth just secured a big investment from Google Ventures. The stuff that they're going to be coming out with over the next 12 months is going to be insane for our clients. And so, like, when I look at all the other competitors out there, that's a big reason why I hitched our wagon at C2P to Wealth.com for this partnership, because I just think this technology is better than all of the rest of them that are out there right now. Because I know there's been a lot of questions of, oh, what about this one or that one? But I think if you see and get onto the tech platform, like Sarah said, they make it so easy to go through. It reminds me of TurboTax, but for estate planning.
Tony, final thoughts?
Yep. We just use a great way to create that relationship. And then they're going to procrastinate on not filling them out. So make sure you do a follow-up.
Dave obviously mentioned the technology. We're not demoing that today, but good news if for those of you that are attending our mastermind team retreat in Clearwater here in just a couple weeks, hard to believe it's only a couple weeks away, we will have wealth.com there. I don't know if they're going to give everybody a cool wealth.com hat like Dave was wearing, but certainly they will be there. They will be able to demo their software, answer questions. I know for some of you are already using other programs, so if you want to know how it compares, they're the experts and they're going to know their competitors, right? They're going to know who else is in this space and be able to tell you what they can do that's better, different, or more efficient. Don't forget to stop by their booth if you're there at the Mastermind Team Retreat with us in Clearwater. We will not have a coffee break for the next 2 weeks because of Thanksgiving next Thursday, and then because we'll be obviously again at Clearwater for the Mastermind Team Retreat. As I wrap up, I just want to say thank you so much to you, Tony, you, Sarah, for being with us today, sharing your kind of advice and what you've experienced using wealth.com. It's always wonderful to hear it directly from someone who's experienced it. To everybody, I just want to say happy Thanksgiving. If you're traveling, travel safe out there. Lots of cars, lots of planes on the road. Or I guess the planes aren't on the road, hopefully, but in the air. But travel safe, and we look forward to seeing all of you that will be attending at the Mastermind Team Retreat in Clearwater.
Thanks for tuning in to the Bucket Plan on Demand, brought to you by C2P, an organization whose purpose is to educate, train, grow, and support holistic financial advisors so families can achieve true prosperity. Subscribe today for the latest episodes and insights. Visit c2penterprises.com to learn how we can help support and enhance your advisory business. At the time of delivery and any subsequent publishing, information was deemed reliable, but is subject to change by the time of listening or viewing. The contents of this piece include options and projections of C2P, are subject to change, and are for informational purposes only. The information provided in this presentation is not intended to be individual investment, tax, or legal advice.